So how fast will an MB200 mini bike run with the stock jack shaft? So if you look at the MB200 playlist, I've had a few on the channel, and the fast ones were always using a torque converter. So my latest MB200, I did a video on it, and I think it did around 31 miles per hour with a stock Predator 212 Hemi. So it's this bike over here, and pretty much everything is stock on this bike, except for, like I said, the 212 Hemi. It even has the stock gearing and jack shaft. And what I like about it, it has the old school metal gas tank and the metal fenders. So for a super easy speed mod without having to go internal inside the engine to get it to spin harder, or adding a torque converter, a 30 series, I was wondering how this bike would perform using a 40 tooth rear sprocket versus the 50 tooth that's on it. So the way this bike is geared with the jack shaft, it is geared super low. So it seems like it would have plenty of torque to pull a much higher gear. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop on this 40 tooth rear sprocket, and we'll see how much top speed this thing will pick up. And then maybe too, I might be able to get a 0 to 30 time out of the bike this time, because last time around, the bike wouldn't even do 30 miles an hour. So on one of the MB200s on the channel with the 196, I think I got the bike to around 40 miles an hour with the stock gearing and the jack shaft. So hopefully this thing will beat that. With a Predator 212, you'd think it would. I mean, it was pretty much a stock 196. I think it had 18-pound springs. I think it had a header pipe and a slide carb. I'll have to go back and check the video. This should be the easiest swap known to man. What's cool about this 40 tooth, it already has the 4 bolt pattern. So I think it'll bolt right on here. Okay, and we'll see if the hole in the center is the same, but I think they're pretty close. Pretty much looks like a direct swap. What's cool about it, you don't have to take the wheel all the way off. Oh yeah, it's right on there. So that's pretty hub-centric on there, pretty tight. So that thing looks small on there. So you get the 50 and the 40. That's a big difference. Looks like a dirt bike. So now I'll see how much chain I need to cut off here. And a few links. What's cool about it, I have adjustment either way, so that'll work. So it looks like I only need to remove 4 links off of here. What's cool about these bikes here, they have marks on the mounting point, which is nice because a lot of them don't. So you can get this thing perfectly even on both sides. That ought to do it to it. Got a nice slack in that chain. So I'm using this 40 sprocket for multiple bikes on the channel with different setups. And it runs really good with my weight, even with the bikes with the bigger tires, like the Coleman CT200Us and the Coleman B200s and stuff like that. But if you're a heavier rider and you have too high of a gear ratio, the 40 tooth can actually hurt performance. So it definitely depends on your setup. It's not automatically going to be a faster bike with a 40 sprocket. So I'm pretty sure with this setup, using the 40 tooth, the bike will definitely gain some performance because the way this jack shaft is geared, it is geared super low. So I don't think it's going to be too tall of a gear for the bike to pull or for the stock engine to pull. So I'm guessing the top speed's going to be a lot better and it's going to actually be able to do a 0 to 30 time, which it wasn't able to do before. And as always, I'll use the Draggy performance meter to measure the 0 to 30 times so we get a really accurate time. So as long as we beat up on 30 miles an hour, it's all good. And I definitely think we'll be able to do a 0 to 30 this time around. We already beat it. 33.39, so it's already faster. As long as it does any 0 to 30, that's better than it did before. Because it wouldn't do 30 on flatland before. Let me see if I can get this draggy hooked up here. Sometimes it has an issue grabbing satellites up here. 0 to 30 with a 40 sprocket on the MB200. Alright, we got a 30 this time. Well, that's cool. At least I can get a baseline on it. Or at least I got a baseline on it this time. 7.04 for the first time. Let me try to back that up real quick. Just so I get a solid baseline on it for further mods. So, see if I can beat up on 7.04. Cutting out right there a little bit. Even though it was cutting out a little bit, 6.74 for the best 0 to 30. So at least now it does 0 to 30, which is cool. Now cruise it around and see if I can beat the 33.39 so far, which already beat the first time. I think it was 30.89 top speed. Yeah, so the 40 sprocket definitely helped this thing out with a jack shaft. Rocket ship, but it's definitely a lot faster than it was before. Yeah, definitely a lot faster than it was before. So now with future mods with the jack shaft, I think I'll get a lot more speed. So that was definitely an inexpensive, worthwhile mod for this bike. So with the Predator 212 and the stock gearing, I wasn't able to get a 0 to 30 because the bike wouldn't do 30 on flatland. And then a top speed downhill of 30.89. Then I added the 42 sprocket and we were able to get a 0 to 30, 6.74. And then gained a lot of top speed, 37.04. I mean, so that's a pretty good speed gain for not adding a driver-driven or 30 series torque converter. So we're running a totally stock Predator Hemi. So now all I have to do is get the engine to turn more RPM for more speed. So what should I do next?